I got really burnt out a couple years ago. I was ready to walk away, burn the bridges, and let it
Mm,
go. And I was like, why? And I realized that I wasn't having fun because of the stress.
yeah,
And I started telling myself and my team that if you're not enjoying this, you should walk away. This is meant to be done in joy. And
right.
that means if you need to take a few minutes because you're really stressed to go ground yourself, to meditate, to think about something happy, feel free. Please go do that. But like, we have to create an experience that we're enjoying,
Yeah,
because if we're not enjoying it as the space holders, as the energy containers for this event, then no one else is either.
yeah.
Yeah, I realized that every time I was stressed or I felt like things were falling apart, then the festival started to fall apart.
Hmm.
And so I started really recognizing my own power as a space holder. And because of that, I started taking better care of myself.
Right.
And when I started taking better care of myself, I was more easily able to surrender into what was and be
Mm.
okay with it.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever and wherever you are watching or listening. This is the Holistic Monitor, and I'm your host, Nick Sconia. The Holistic Monitor is a wellness podcast featuring life energy research, health and wellness transformation, self improvement and empowerment, philosophy, spirituality, and now guest interviews as well. We look forward to your comments on our YouTube channel at Holistic Monitor, and you can also listen on the go with us at Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and more. And with that, let's get today's show started. Paige Zen, you are promoting the Kentucky Yoga Festival and also PlayThink in
Yes,
Kentucky. So these are two events that I've been to PlayThink last year. Had a really good time there. It was definitely, I think it was a hot week.
it was the hottest
It was the
playthink
hottest.
ever. It was
Yeah,
terrible.
it was pretty warm. It's June in Kentucky, right? So that's what we get. Really good time, and what I loved about it was that so many of the festivals that you find out on on the circuit are very party oriented.
Mhm.
They're music focused, which is great, but with that you get a really strong amount of partying and debauchery and whatnot,
Yeah.
um, and a lot of forgotten nights, that sort of thing. What I really liked about Playthink was that it was centered around the experience of what you were learning, and not so much the substances, if at all, but the experience of being there amongst others to learn and to explore, and of course the music too. Music was great, and you had a lot of live artists there. It was really a really great festival and really well run too.
Well,
Um,
thank you.
and it was
That's
very
high
hot, but
praise.
no, it was great. And I've done a lot of festivals. I've been doing festivals since 2001 as a vendor, and it was really well run. Obviously it's a great venue,
Yeah, it is.
and so it has a lot of positive credits towards it. But it was also very energizing, and you come out of that feeling charged
Mhm.
and in a positive way versus maybe a draining or tired from drinking or substances and that sort of thing. So I just really thought that was a great thing to see. You don't see a lot of festivals like that that is really family focused and yet still a
Well,
really dynamite festival. So what drove you towards that angle of a festival?
I've thought about that. I've had that question a lot over the years. We started Playthink in 2012.
Mm,
And even then, I wanted it to be family centric. I have an 8-year-old son, but he wasn't born for 2 or 3 years after Playthink began. And it kind of started out as a desire to have a cleaner festival grounds, no trash, but
mm-hmm.
also I just didn't like dealing with belligerent people. And I was
Yeah.
like, I want to create an environment that does not have that belligerency, for lack of a better word, because it's just so much more fun to be
Yeah.
with people that are, with themselves, that are with what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't know what to call it in 2012. I didn't have the language. So I started calling it a belligerence-free festival. That's really the words that I used. And then
That's
as we
great.
got, I started using alcohol-free, and then it moved to sober, and now we've used it to substance-free.
Right. Right. And that way,
Languaging is hard. It's like I really want to talk to people about exactly what I want, but not always knowing the language, or um, different words having different definitions for people. If I say substance free, that could potentially bring in the idea of cacao,
mm-hmm.
kombucha that has, mild bits of alcohol in it,
Right.
things of that nature.
So it's not like it's abuse free. Maybe that's a better term. I don't know. It's really it is a tricky zone, isn't it? When you really narrow down, if people want to get really specific about terminology, the idea is that there's kids there.
Correct.
Don't be belligerent. And belligerent free is really
Yeah.
great, but it doesn't say, don't do something that might turn you into belligerent when you weren't aware of it or something like that.
So I
It
just want
doesn't kind of,
people to be aware of, what they're doing and who they're being, and how they're presenting themselves to the world.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
As if they're there to experience, themselves and the world around them in clarity, in a sober perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Sober can also be, again, it's because I think substance is tricky for people. I love coffee. you know,
Right.
I definitely think I'm close to abusing coffee because I love it so much.
Just like the rest of America.
Right, right. It's something I would love to curtail. I try to, ad lib some water in there, so I'm balancing it out. But I definitely have a coffee problem. Um, I will drink hot coffee on the hottest day in Kentucky. But it doesn't make me belligerent. It doesn't swerve my perception so much that I'm, not aware of my faculties or of my words, and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't make me lost or doing things that I wouldn't normally do otherwise.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the non-belligerence.
Ultimately, I want folks to be able to respect themselves and the people around them in the process of whatever they're choosing to imbibe in.
Right,
I really don't mind if someone has a drink.
right,
You can still be sober if you have a drink,
right,
but it's
right.
really being at a place consciously that you can connect.
Yeah, and alcohol is easy for people to lose step
Yes,
with,
it is.
lose the count. You know,
That's right.
and that's a tricky one because for me, I've used to drink a lot more than I do now, and now I'm at the point where one is enough because I get a headache and it's not nearly as awesome as it used to be. It comes with age, maybe, or maybe not. I just stopped doing it, and when I stopped doing it, it didn't. My body was like, we don't like this anymore.
Oh,
But not everybody's there,
that's right.
and that also brings up like herbs and things that people like to consider natural, not a
Mm-hmm.
drug, quote unquote, or a substance. Maybe they consider it a religion. Um, that is also a tricky spot. For some people, it is medicine, and they utilize it to get a specific reaction that they need to work and live in the world. But again, that doesn't sound like it's making them belligerent. It makes them sound like it's giving them clarity and balance. You know,
That's right. But
so it's tricky.
similarly, as if you wouldn't take a bottle of ibuprofen out and take it in front of a bunch of people and pass it around.
Right, 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 right.
So we
Personal
take our
use.
medicine as if it's medicine.
Right, which makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. Yeah. And so that is a big theme because there's kids, there's families, there's people going there specifically for the idea that like, hey, I don't have to worry about my kids, happening upon a camp and a bunch of drunk people are there or something like
Exactly.
that. And
Yeah.
I guess that's the idea, right? Is that it's just really safe.
It is. I want it to be safe, and I want it to be comfortable for anyone off the street. So
Yeah.
what I call it is the festival for people who don't festival,
Mm, mm,
because there are a lot of people that are in the festival culture and they jump from one event to the next
yeah.
event, and they all have a similar vibe. But
Right.
Playthink is so different in that aspect because really anybody that isn't used to festivals or the culture that goes around festivals can show up at PlayThink and still be comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because it's got the vibe, it just doesn't have that element. Uh,
Exactly.
there's a lot of things that go on at festivals, and there is definitely a circuit and a circuit tour mentality that goes along with festivals. That's pervasive. I was just having a discussion about rainbow gatherings and how they used to be versus how they are now, and how they function, and what the purpose of the different sections of a rainbow gathering were. You have the parking lot where the cars are, and the stereos, and the partying and the drinking in the parking lot, much like you would be at a concert at a parking lot. And then you hike in to an inner sanctuary in a space where it's supposed to be alcohol free, abuse free, we'll say, and where people are there to in recovery will go there to feel safe, to be able to gather with their loved ones, their family, and to be amongst you know peers in a safe way, and they can bring family and all of that. Now, a lot of that changes, and it depends on the situation with gatherings, because you have a lot of different things going on out in the world or the location that it's at. But that was the idea, was to keep the party on the outside, and on the inside it was this sanctuary where people could experience themselves and the world around them in a sober, or as sober as they wanted to be, approach. Um,
My dad would tell you that PlayThink was inspired by me going to my first rainbow gathering at the age of 12.
oh, okay, yeah. What has that vibe to it? It
Yeah.
definitely does. That was what drew me to it a lot. Was like, this has got a really cool, and it also has that performance
Mhm.
element that you have going on there. A lot of great practitioners and a lot of great acrobatics. Really amazing setup there.
Thank you.
What inspired you to make it that sort of event?
I was a hula hooper. Hula hooping became like my passion in life. It was the first time that I started to dance and feel comfortable doing that in front of people. It was the first time that I started feeling confidence within myself. This little plastic circle changed my life. And then I
Yeah.
started performing for people. I opened up for, let's see, Beats Antique and Michael
Oh,
Franti and Will I Am, and just really started doing a lot of performance in the region.
nice.
And at some point, I went through all of my local teachers. I couldn't up level, and I needed more people to be able to teach me. And so
Right.
I was like, okay, I'm going to do a festival about it. So it really started as a performance arts festival to where people could up level their skills.
Hmm.
Um, as I grew and my desires grew and what I wanted out of life grew, so did PlayThink.
That's great. Wow, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
Well, that's an extension truly of like your path. So this
Hmm.
festival is like, it's your baby. It's your creation, and it's part of who you were, who you are, who you've become.
Very much so.
That's great. Yeah, because it does have, there's yoga. There wasn't there laughing yoga going on,
Yep. There's been
which is
laughter yoga there.
always fun. And there's a lot of acrobatics, aerial, a lot
Yep.
of aerial. Anything else? What other sorts of
We have about
activities?
250 workshops, so it's really hard to pin it down.
Yeah.
There's slinky workshops, drumming,
Mm,
belly dancing, sword dancing, veil dancing, beatboxing,
mm,
mm, different healing modalities,
wow.
Thai massage. I feel like I could just list and list and
Yeah.
list. There's so many different options. And as I grew, what really became my idea for the event is for people to meet themselves where they are and to have a smorgasbord of things to test out where they want to go next and to
Mm,
shorten that distance between who they are now and who they're going to be.
right. Really to give a smorgasbord of ideas. If
Yeah.
somebody's got an interest in hula hooping, they might find themselves doing aerial and
Yeah,
fall in love with that, and then next thing you know, that's their thing.
exactly.
So it really allows people to experience all of these different uh, art forms,
Mhm.
in a way that's safe and belligerent free, which is great. And and to explore where they may be going.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Now you also do the Kentucky Yoga Festival.
Hmm.
That is yoga specific, or does that also have a lot of different workshops?
It is yoga specific, although it's also yoga adjacent. So, we may have yoga class, meditation classes, and healing classes. We dabble a little bit in permaculture, but it stays
Hmm.
pretty yoga specific.
Okay.
And this started as kind of a spin-off from PlayThink. After several years, I realized that a lot of our applications that came in for PlayThink were yoga inspired or yoga instructors.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I didn't realize that there would be such a demand for yoga in Kentucky, but there obviously is.
Right.
And so I started the yoga festival, and it's really grown on its own. The audience that comes to the yoga festival is completely different than PlayThink, which I was a little surprised by.
Yeah.
And we're on our fifth year, I believe, for that.
Fifth year. Oh, that's great. And that's also growing exponentially.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Playthink
think
is, and the
we
Yoga Fest.
anticipate about 2,000 people at PlayThink this year and about
Mm.
500 at the yoga festival.
Okay, that's great. Great size too.
Yeah.
And how many days is the Yoga Fest?
It's 3 days.
Okay, that's a 3 day, and Playthink is 5. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of time to explore and a nice long weekend to be out camping. That's a camping event as
Yep.
well.
Both are camping events. And the reason that PlayThink ended up starting on a Wednesday is because every time I went camping, I was like, nobody wants to set up their tent and their
Hmm.
entire camping situation and then tear it down 2 days later. Like, if I
Right.
want to set it up, I want it to be there for a minute.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
really set up PlayThink to cater to people like me,
Right.
which is, I don't know, kind of fun when I think about it.
Yeah. Again, it's an extension of what you were wanting out of an event, which is just great. You're
Yeah,
getting exactly, all the things that you liked about other events or you wanted to see, you can make happen, which is
exactly.
fantastic. Do you so you have obviously a a lot going on, a lot of plate spinning
I do.
with promotion. Could you speak about what promoting is and what what your methods are and how you go about doing that?
Yeah. I didn't even know what a promoter was even into the last several years. When people would use the word promoter, I was like, that's not who I am. That's not, I don't understand. Just recently have I understood what that meant. So even though I've been putting on PlayThink for 12 years, I would have not said that I was a promoter.
Mm.
Now I understand that I would have called myself a host. And
Mm.
so now I'm like, oh, but I own a
Mm.
production company and I am promoting all of these different arts, all of these different
Right.
people. Um, I feel like all of my events are creating a time in space where folks are welcome to put their magic out in the world. And I do whatever I can to promote their magic in the world and to just project it as big as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And so I do that through social media posts. I do that through videos and pictures and telling my story and how I can relate to the world and how these people relate to the world and things of that nature. It's a lot of computer work and it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of conversations.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think we don't realize with the new enterprises or any enterprise, any business, how much focus there is on using the internet and being savvy with the internet.
Yeah,
We're finding somebody else that is savvy with the internet.
that
It's
one right there.
Yeah, yeah. Work smarter, not harder. Because there's so many, and then everything changes every year, so it's
It
just a
does.
you know, whole nother thing to learn with Facebook being one of the big ones. That's just like,
There
what
it
are you
is.
doing now? you know?
Yeah. Facebook's not even it anymore. It's Instagram, right? Or TikTok.
Yeah, or is it? I mean, yeah, exactly. Is it TikTok, or is it next year it's gonna be something completely different?
Yeah.
Maybe, or maybe you'll have to do two at the same time and make those work, or who knows? It's crazy. Yeah, and then you started in 2012.
Hmm.
There was definitely less focus on the internet in 2012.
I still think that if social media didn't exist, if Facebook specifically did not exist, I would have had no idea how to promote anything.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. With social media, it turned like bulletin boards that you would search for before, or forums, or websites that had lists and directories. It just basically put that on its head, and it's a social media platform, so you can search for it within the social media and find the events and find the directories that way.
Yep.
You can still find the websites for the directories, but that's mainly how the direct advertising was online back in the day. It was Jambase or something like festivalnet.com or something like that. Another directory where you would go, and you'd have to list all of your event on all these different websites so that people that were looking on their specific website would find it.
But you should still do that.
And you need to do that. I mean, it's still there.
Social media.
Yeah, and social media. It just adds more stuff. Now, do you have a production company? Do you have a website specific for the production company?
I
Because it
don't.
looked like, yeah, you have a website specific for the events,
I do.
and so that's where they live basically. And then you update the website per year as the event kind of unfolds or starts
Correct.
to develop. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And that's a good method because it keeps the domain strong, and it keeps people on the bookmarks real easy place to find it. And um, as far as with the Kentucky Yoga Festival, um, how many you have? Like, said about 500 guests coming in.
Correct.
About how many teachers would be at that event?
I believe that we have 37 instructors this year.
Instructors, right? Okay. Wow,
Mhm.
that's amazing. Yeah, that's really big.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
we have 90 something workshops.
Wow. Wow, that's something. Yeah, so it's a jam-packed weekend.
Jam-packed weekend. There's a
Yeah.
little something for everybody. Or you could just sit back and get in the river.
Oh yeah, yeah. Very good. Yeah. And that's coming up. And what weekend is that?
It's in about 2 weeks. It's May 19th through the 21st.
Okay, weekend before Memorial Day
Mhm.
weekend. Yeah, the weekend before that. Okay, and that is not the same location as PlayThink.
Correct. So PlayThink is at Terrapin Hill Farm in Harrodsburg, Kentucky, and Kentucky Yoga Festival is at Barren River Magic in
Hmm.
Center, Kentucky, which is about 45 minutes from Cave City.
Cave City. I don't know where any of that is.
Cave City is where Mammoth Cave is.
Oh, okay. So closer to Tennessee,
Hmm.
and what is that? Indiana, I guess down there. Is that right?
I don't know about
It's
Indiana,
just
but
south of Indiana, or just east of
definitely close to
Missouri,
Tennessee.
something like that. Yeah, Tennessee. Yeah, it's down towards the bottom
Yeah,
left of Kentucky, not the center of Kentucky.
correct.
Center Kentucky. Yeah, that's great. So that event really looks um, a place where a beginner could go and kind of pick up and get an idea as to how to do yoga or learn the practice
Yeah.
of yoga.
It's definitely for brand new beginners or experts. It's really a wide variety of skills. We have anything from yoga nidra, which is yogic sleep,
Hmm.
to laughter yoga, and then also some like kundalini and tantra
Hmm.
and some more skilled options.
Classic styles. I don't know that sleeping one. That sounds great.
It's a really beautiful practice. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, there's so many different forms of yoga. Do you look for the variety when putting this together, or are you
I
going with?
do. I look for a variety. I also look for things that are accessible by a wide range of people. I'm a mom. I am 38, so I have fibromyalgia, so I have chronic pain,
Mm,
and
hmm.
I want to make sure that people of all ages, of all abilities, have something to to welcome them into the event.
Right. No matter where they're at, basically.
Correct.
Yeah. And so that would be an extension. That was based off of how many responses you were getting for people to go to PlayThink
Hmm.
um, as yoga instructors. Are there any other instructors that you're seeing as just a lot of at PlayThink, or you get a lot of requests for?
So over the years, we've had a lot more. I would call them healing or discussion based
Hmm.
workshops, and a lot of that's is discussing on almost like different subcultures or how we relate to ourselves or relate to the world. So things like kind of men's circles, women's
Oh,
circles,
okay.
mother-daughter circles, like people are really looking for connection. And
Yeah.
there's a lot more of those community-based discussion style workshops being offered.
Very interesting. Okay. So it's more
Um,
about almost a psychology type of angle to
yeah, like self-help
community.
psychology.
Interesting. Okay. I wouldn't expect that.
I was surprised myself, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. The yoga, I would have thought hula hooping or aerial. It seems
Mhm.
like that's wildly popular.
And we
The
do
the
have a lot of those
tripod
too.
and yeah, yeah, a lot of aerial. I don't. It seems like that's becoming more and more popular as things go. My first time that I saw what I would call a an experience type of festival was in the Northwest String Summit, and I can't remember the venue, but it's west of Portland, Oregon. It was a Yonder Mountain String Band event, and they had like a tent with "What the Bleep Do We Know" playing in the tent. There was a lot of different places and pods you could go to experience different things,
Hmm.
but it was also very music centric, and it was definitely a party. But it had these experiences that you could go and do different things. I thought that was the coolest thing at the time. And then I went to Burning Man, and I realized Burning Man probably inspired a lot of these different themed type of events that were starting to pop up. When I went to PlayThink, I had that same vibe, but I also, okay, because of the non-belligerence level, just had such a clean and really focused approach
Mhm.
to the experience. It was really about you going there and getting an experience and learning.
Yeah.
If you'd like to like develop your life and develop a new skill, learn about something that you maybe never knew existed.
Yeah.
That was what I caught off of PlayThink.
I went to Burning Man for the first time in 2010,
Mm,
and it very much inspired me starting Playthink in 2012.
yeah, yeah, it's very inspiring, and that's really it. Like theme camped type of
Yeah.
experience. And it's an experience for sure. There's a lot of different festivals all over the country. A lot of them have adopted the theme role within the event, even if it's mainly sponsored by a band or something like that. I haven't been to some of the bigger ones, but Bonnaroo back in the day has some of that. I'm sure it has more of it now than it did then.
Yeah, I went to Bonnaroo from '04 to '08, and it had
Mm,
like you said, just a teeny tiny bit of that, but
yeah,
not really
I
yet.
was there in '04, I believe.
Maybe we
Let's
crossed
see, can I
paths.
remember? you know, was it '04? Yeah, somewhere around there. '04, '05, something like that. The first time there, it was like, oh, this is why this is the kind of thing I hate. And then
Yep.
I went back the next year, so it wiped out all their festivals in June. So it was like, well, I guess this is what's happening. But it's an experience, and yes, I think MTV had some kind of tent there. The last year I was there, it was becoming more arcade, and there's all sorts of weird stuff going on in the parking area. Um, so out of all these festivals, what aside from your own, because I would imagine Plaything's got to be one of your favorite events if you get to experience it and have fun, of course. What other festival out there do you find to be like your current top?
So I actually don't go to a lot of
Oh,
festivals.
okay.
Really just because I'm a single mom, I have an 8-year-old, and it's hard for me
Mm-hmm.
to find a festival that I want to take my child to.
Right.
I did go to a brand new one last month and in Summertown, Tennessee called Sanctuary Summit. It's put
Hmm.
on by Biko Cassini.
Okay.
It was a phenomenal little festival, 200 people.
Oh yeah.
I like the little ones.
Yeah. Yeah. They're the best. They're the best. Yeah. You get
I've
overwhelmed
been
with the big ones, and you
yeah,
miss half
I
the stuff.
at Burning Man last year, I did or this past year, I did get to meet Paul Stamets. It was one of the first time I started going
Wow.
to workshops there, and that was pretty
That's great.
epic.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I definitely want to have him on the show. Actually, I've been eyeing him up on Facebook. Like, hey, You got to get on the show.
He's really wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, and it was just, yeah, I fangirled. I sat in the front
Yeah.
row and just like listened to his every word. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Yep. So you do Burning Man. That would be one that you still do.
Yep.
Okay.
I go to Burning Man. I went to the Sanctuary Summit. Really just my own events. I
Yeah.
really don't
Yeah.
go to a lot of others. I'm trying
Yeah.
to think of anything else I've went to recently. I went to Bonnaroo from '04 to '08. I went to All Good, which doesn't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm. Right. These are all
Um,
back in the day too,
yeah.
in comparison. Yeah.
And so I'm just, yeah, life's a little bit different these days.
It happens that way, doesn't it? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Let's see. So, as far as the scope of development for the event, um, where do you see it going in the next 5, 10 years?
I'd like it to stay in the same realm of genre. I
Mm-hmm.
want Plaything to be a transformational festival. I want people to be able to show up, be radically seen, heard as truly themselves to where they feel the most comfortable so they can grow into their highest potential. And I just want to be more of that. I want more art. I want more awe and wonder, more magic. And I'd like it to grow to, no more than 5,000 people and
Yeah.
just really just hone in on that message of, positive lifestyle intentions and growing as humans.
Yeah. Yeah. 5,000's the perfect. That's the top.
Yeah. I don't want to get bigger than that ever.
Yeah. And would it stay at Terrapin Hill?
It's a hard one to say. I'm not really sure yet for
It's not
now.
your property, so you can't.
Correct.
You don't know what they're gonna do. So yeah. I don't. I imagine they have a capacity, but they have a lot of room there too.
Their
It's a lot of
capacity is about
space.
6,000.
Oh, okay.
My biggest concern, for lack of a better word, is that they prefer bluegrass music,
Hmm. Hmm.
and my music is not bluegrass. I really
Right.
feel like we need that electronic music for people to feel like they can get in the flow and dance.
Right.
And so I feel like that may cause me to want to move one day.
Yeah. If there's some kind of imbalance happening there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the music was great. I think just amazing. I got some great reels from it. A really good time. The
Yeah.
hill right over there by the stage
That
is
hill.
just great. It's just such a great setup. And it feels like there's a lot of room. It just
Hmm.
feels so wide open. Like if you didn't want to be around people, do something, dance on your own on the hill or something like that. Very doable.
I love that venue. I hope that we
Yeah,
never have to move,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah. It's definitely fantastic. My first time was in 2005 there, and I for one of the that was a fall Terrapin Hill festival. I don't know. I think it was called anything besides Terrapin Hill Festival at the time,
Maybe Harvest Fest or
something
they.
like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it was good. I had a fun time. I loved the venue. Um, but that was the last time I was there until 2021. So yeah, big gap of time. But definitely one of the best venues because of the different terrain, the space. There's just a lot of room and water. There's water there.
I love the feng shui of the event, the way or the venue. It's really the way that it's in a circle, and
Mm-hmm.
from the campsite, you kinda, like, walk people in, activity by activity until they get to the main stage late at night, and then you kinda
Yeah,
walk them back through to the campsite, and it's just a really it's
yeah.
set up so perfectly.
It's really cool. Yeah, it's a really cool space. Do you have any kind of fun events happening that you'd like to talk about as far as new workshops at
At the event.
PlayThink or Yoga Fest? Either one, actually.
Let's see.
Something that you're really looking forward to. Yeah.
Honestly, I have not had a lot to do with the workshop schedule this year.
Oh,
I
okay.
brought in a new organizer who kind of has gone through all of the applications. They've accepted them, put them on a schedule, and I've only
Hmm,
seen a few. So I'm going to be really surprised on what's there this year.
that's good. Yeah, that's fantastic. So for you, that's another part of the event to enjoy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We are bringing in a company called Joy of Bubbles that
Hmm.
they do like these LED bubble shows, and I'm
Oh,
really excited about that.
well, that sounds interesting. Yeah. Okay. That'll be a nighttime.
It's going to be, they're kind of set up during the day and at night.
Oh, wow. Okay. A
Bubbles,
stage
bubbles everywhere.
performance.
They're
Uh,
going to be near the stage, but not on the stage. So kind of
okay.
an experience,
Yeah.
magical experience that just happens to happen.
Yeah. What I also loved was just the huge amount of art being made on the spot. Really
Yes.
cater to people to come and do art and showcase it. I thought that was really awesome.
I feel like there are so many aspects in our lives that we keep to ourselves. We get up, we go to our office job, maybe we have small talk. We maybe like, oh, I'm doing okay. How are you? Basic, shallow conversation. And we don't really get to share our passions or be our true selves. We don't get to dress in the way that we want. We don't get to express our art. And so I feel like Playthink, really festival culture in general, but Playthink specifically caters to being able to be radically sane.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
when you are seen and not judged, when you are fully accepted, then it allows you just to be even more yourself. That means people are actually bringing their art and they're showcasing it because they're proud, and it's something that they just don't get to do
Right.
usually.
And supported too. They
Correct.
get to get that acknowledgement that, their art is also valuable,
That's right.
acknowledged by the community. Yeah. Yeah, you get a lot of I've seen a lot of development with stage art, people doing live art at the shows. But and maybe I'm just out of the circuit, but there was so many. I thought, wow, this is awesome. You could just hang out by the art and watch it being made. And
Yeah.
that was its own experience. You know, very
I
good
love
time
seeing
with
the
that.
different workshops that the artists come out. You start them and they're almost there's just a couple brush strokes, and by the end of the event, they're these masterpieces.
Yeah, yeah, wild. Yeah, it's definitely something to experience for sure.
It is.
What are the dates for PlayThink?
It's June 14th through the 18th.
Okay.
Which sadly is the same weekend as Bonnaroo this year.
Ah, the middle of June. Now, does that not normally happen? It's all
It
shifted.
has been every 3 years because
Hmm.
I'm always on Father's Day weekend, and I think that they were
Okay.
always the second weekend.
Yeah.
But since they canceled over through the pandemic, I'm not sure how it lines up now because we've been the same year 2 years in a row now.
Interesting. Yeah, they might have shifted to the middle of the same weekend or something like that. Yeah, they I believe they canceled it and then they tried to do it in the fall. I don't know if they actually did accomplish that during the
And then it got
shutdown.
flooded, like there was really bad weather or something.
Okay. My first year, it felt like it was flooded. I was standing
Yes.
in calf deep water, almost
All
knee
I
deep
can
water.
remember the feel of the mud.
Yeah, yeah. Waiting for the dead to come on or something. It's like, oh, this isn't good. Lightning striking. Yeah, good times.
Hmm.
Um, and so, do you find that that's any kind of conflict? I feel like there's such different events that it's just you're not going to see really any kind of fluctuation.
Very little. There's a few people that tell me like, "Okay, I'm gonna come the year that it's not at Bonnaroo," but minimal.
Yeah.
I feel like Bonnaroo it's very much catered to that 30-something crowd,
Hmm.
and Playthink is really caters to the full family. I mean, we really have all ages. People
Yeah.
bring their grandkids, their grandparents, their parents. It's just a much different vibe.
Yeah, it's a very memorable event, and I think it's because it's so family oriented, family centric that you're seeing like something that you don't normally see at festivals, and that's the thing you definitely can take away is that there is an element of true community
Yeah,
at the event, and it is the kid element. You hear the kids talking, playing at the playground. There is a dynamic change when you have like family like present
there
versus
is.
just the party,
It's
which
not just the kids, it's also the elders. We
right.
have multiple people in their 70s that are teaching workshops.
Hmm.
To me, it's the full family spectrum.
Yeah, yeah, it's a learning place for sure,
Yeah.
which is wonderful. Does the yoga festival kind of Is it kind of designed around that same principle?
It's actually a little bit different.
Yeah.
So we still welcome kids, of course, but it's not as kid centric. It's really more geared towards those 30, 40, 50-year-old
Mm-hmm.
yogis.
Right.
We have a bar. We have a mimosa and Bloody Mary bar each day, so it's not
Mm,
sober.
right.
Um, it's really catered to a different crowd.
Yeah. Yeah. Not so family centric because
Yeah,
it's marketed towards yoga, so it's not.
correct.
Yeah.
Now, my 8-year-old comes. He has a blast. I still feel safe with him there.
Right. A mimosa bar. Okay. You know? Yeah. And it's a yoga festival. We're not talking about, you know, um, acoustic hookah or something like that. No, no disrespect.
It's still primarily people doing yoga. We're still mostly
Right.
asleep at midnight.
Yeah,
You
right.
know,
It's an earlier event for sure. Yeah, that's great. And how and what kind of grounds is that on? That's you said it was what was the name of the
it's
venue there?
Barren River Magic. It is
Mm,
also a really beautiful venue.
mm,
There's like a grand hall. He calls it a barn, but I mean, it's like a wedding hall that's just really set up with real bathrooms.
mm, mm.
There's a big pavilion. It's right next to the Little Barren River. So we do sup yoga, paddleboard yoga. Um, it's gorgeous as well.
Yeah. In its own way, it's very different, sounds like. But PlayThink also has bathrooms too, right? And
It
shower
does.
house. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is a nice thing.
Oh goodness. Yes,
Showers,
it is.
showers and bathrooms. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Not all porta
Terrapin is actually a
potties.
little bit more rustic than Barren River Magic.
Okay.
Barren
Is
River
Barren River
Magic,
Magic a campground?
it is a campground, but
Okay.
it was originally created for weddings, so it's a little bit more upper end.
I see. Hence the barn,
Yeah,
nice space for indoor outdoor type of event.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. And that capacity for that space, is that also several
We
thousand or
we probably can't grow past about 600.
it would be difficult to? Okay.
Yeah.
With the
So for
space or because of the,
because the space, it's a
yeah.
rolling hills. There's not a lot of flat space.
Oh, okay.
So we could bring in more people, but not allow them to camp there. But that just
Interesting.
leaves out the fun to me.
Yeah. Yeah. For a lot of people, that's part of the experience. Yeah. But there's probably a lot of day trippers too. Probably for both events. Playthink seems like with last year being so hot, a lot of people were like, "I'll come Saturday. I'll come for the specific music or workshop that I want to be there for, without the having to try and camp in the heat
Yeah.
or something like that." And I did see you had a company there doing setting up camps too. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, there's a company called Dance and Dave's. They set up glamp sites or pre-ordered tents. They'll do
Mm-hmm.
shower tents, cots, etc. And we're actually having them for both events. And they've been doing it for 15 years, I think.
Yeah, a
They're
long time.
amazing.
Yeah, that's great. So for anybody that's not all set up and ready to go, they can. I think you can
So
just go there
convenient.
and scan a code or something right on the spot.
Yep.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really well put together. Again, the whole event very well put together. Lots of things that are already thought of,
Yeah. Thank you.
which is very impressive. And uh, are you still doing the hula hoop?
I am not.
Okay.
So I hula hooped for about 10 years and I was 21 ish when I started. And
Hmm.
I hula hooped in one direction for about 10 years. And I started
Oh,
having some back pain. I had
oh
my
boy.
son, and I realized that I had functional scoliosis.
Yeah.
I
Was it
hula
from the
hooped
hula hoop?
so much that it strengthened one side of my back a lot
Yeah.
more, so much so that it pulled my spine to one side. And so I quit hula hooping. I
Hmm.
went to yoga teacher training
Okay. All right.
and moved on to other things. So I do hula hoop
Yeah.
on occasion, but I mean, it's like 3 or 4 times a year. It's very minimal.
Yeah. I wouldn't even think of that, but yeah, that would be a repetitive work
Yep.
injury type of thing
And
if you were doing it professionally.
I never knew.
I wouldn't have thought of that, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That will pull on one side. You got to spin both ways.
That's right. And it's kind of like being left or right handed, like your body doesn't feel the same going the non-dominant direction.
Yeah, yeah. I've the little that I and unsuccessful amount that I've tried to hula hoop. It's very much counterclockwise, I believe, is my direction.
Yeah.
But while it lasts, it's up for about 2 seconds. And
Oh, you just need a bigger hula hoop.
I've tried the bigger ones. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. Just gotta get that. You gotta get that groove going. I think it's
It's
all the
true.
hips, right? Yeah.
You got to have the right music. Maybe you just
Oh
never turned on
yes.
the right
Ah,
song.
yeah. Maybe I needed the right music exactly for the hula hoop. But it is a great. It's a for you. It was a gateway for this wonderful event,
Yeah.
and to learn other things. It got you started with yoga. Then is that right?
It did. It got me started with yoga. It got me into feeling more connected with my body, and just more aware of who I was as a person and how I could relate to others in the world. The hula hoop changed my life, and I
Yeah.
will never regret that part.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I find a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people fall in love with hula hooping. It's definitely really cool to watch people do it at many different levels of ability.
Yeah.
Um, there's that Halloween. I was gonna try and go to that one year, and I saw the ticket price. I was like, okay, it's all the way in Florida. Seemed cool though. Seemed like it would be a cool event where maybe I could actually learn how to hula hoop. But that one also, I think, is very centric to hula hooping. It probably has a lot of different workshops for hula hoop and whatnot, I
Yeah, I've
think.
never been.
Yeah, Halloween. But do you have hula hooping classes at PlayThink?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think we have 20, 20-ish hula hoop
Wow.
workshops throughout the
Oh my
weekend.
gosh. All ages?
All ages. So there's some catered specifically for kids. There's some
Yeah.
catered to adults. Anything from beginner to quad hoops, meaning using four different hula hoops at
Oh,
once.
yeah.
Native American hoop dancing,
Yeah. That's pretty amazing.
on body, off body, circus tricks, acrobatic hula hooping. I mean, just almost anything you can think of with a hula hoop.
Yeah. That's awesome. Wow. And for anybody that is looking for more information, where can they find out about these two events?
I mean, I could throw you on social media, but in reality, the website is king. So
Yes.
playthinkfestival.com,
Hmm.
which will automatically link you to KentuckyYogaFestival.com. It's kyyogafest.com.
Okay.
And then I also have two other smaller events that I call mini festivals.
Hmm.
We have the God X Initiative, which is a gathering catered towards everyone's, men's and women's, feminine divinity within them.
Hmm.
And then we have the Equinox Connection done over the autumnal equinox.
Autumn equinox.
Autumn, yeah. Thank you.
Something like that. Autumnal, yeah. Okay.
Um,
So September
and it's really about
21st
like
ish.
getting back to our roots and connecting
Hmm.
to the earth.
Interesting. And where do those happen at?
Those are the same venue as the yoga festival at Barren River Magic, and they
Oh,
have about
okay.
100 people each.
Oh, those are nice size. Yeah. Okay. Very intimate.
Very intimate.
And so do they have music as well?
They do,
Or,
but we have like acoustic music. I bring
okay.
in some bands to play around a bonfire. We have food, like so we bring food for the participants. We do organic s'mores bars and
Hmm.
charcuterie boards, and it's a
That
really
sounds
just
great. Yeah.
really beautiful gatherings.
And that would be a camping oriented type of
Yep,
event.
exactly.
Okay. And those are also linked through the PlayThink or both
Yes,
websites, I
yes, they are
imagine.
both
All
websites.
linked up. That's great. And I thought I saw that you also do um, retreat or destination
Yeah.
experiences as well. Is that right?
Yep. So, well, I have my very first one happening this
Oh,
December,
okay.
and we're going on an adventure retreat to
Hmm.
Tulum, Mexico. I fell in
Tulum,
love with
Mexico.
Tulum when I went there for my yoga teacher training in 2010, and I went back 3 or 4 different times, and so I've decided that I want to take other people there because it's just such
Nice.
a beautiful, magical location. We're going to go cenote jumping all
Hmm.
the cenotes, and we're going to go in the jungle and visit the Mayan ruins and just go on an adventure and really explore the inner sanctuary as well as
Hmm.
Mexico.
Excellent. Yeah. And Tulum, where is that in Mexico?
It's about 2 hours from Cancun. and
Okay.
still on the coast, of course.
Is that Yucatan then?
Yes, Yucatan Peninsula.
And Mayan temples there. That sounds fun. Is
Yeah.
that one of the coastal ones? Is that the goddess temple?
So there's Chichen Itza,
Yeah.
which we're going to go visit, and
Okay.
then there's
That
about
one's,
4 different ruins that I have on our itinerary, but I can't remember all of them offhand.
yeah, one of them's like the moon temple, and there's a whole bunch of them. I'd have to look
There's
at them.
like 30 along there. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And Chichen Itza, I think, is inland,
it is.
inland a little
Mhm.
bit, but that would be, that'll be a lot of fun. And how many days is that trip?
7.
7 days. Okay, so it's a nice experience. It's a nice week. Yeah.
And it's really all inclusive. So it's,
Okay.
to go, it includes all of our excursions out into the world, all of the accommodations, meals,
Hmm.
etc., even transportation to and from the airport.
Right. Nice and easy. Yeah. And lots of experience. You definitely seem to have a theme going on with themes and experiences for people to grow.
Experience is key.
Yeah, absolutely.
My big thing in life is freedom. I
Hmm.
want to have freedom in my life, and I really want other people to see how they can have freedom in their life. And I think that learning how to be free in our bodies, free in our minds, and then free to experience the world that we're living in
Yeah.
is big, is paramount.
I feel like experience in whatever regard it is a way of liberating the soul, liberating the self, because it's helping it grow. And it almost doesn't matter what kind of experience it is, but we want them to be, you know, wise choices.
Every time that we have a new experience, we get to experience a different part of ourselves.
Yeah.
And by experiencing a different part of ourselves allows us a further connection with not only ourselves, the people around us, and the world around us, allowing for us to learn deeper depths.
Hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exposing more corners of ourselves
Yeah,
and liberating more parts of
correct.
things that we didn't realize were even there. Yeah.
We get to start questioning the original programs. When we're
Mm.
born, our parents, the culture around us are teaching us different ideas and beliefs. And as
Right.
we have different experiences, meet other cultures, we start questioning those belief systems. And by questioning, we just get to be like, hey, do I believe that? Do I like that?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have a silly story about that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
growing up my entire life, I have 4 siblings, and my parents would get sausage rolls. We'd have sausage for breakfast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And as I got older, I I realized I like sausage links better. But still, my boyfriend, my kid, etc., they liked sausage patties, so I always bought it. And eventually I was like, why do I always buy sausage patties? I like sausage links. And it's like this small little thing of
Right.
freedom. It's
Right.
a silly story, but you start realizing these things about yourself and actually choosing the things that actually support your person.
Right. And that's a good example on a very mundane level, but it is a key. It could
Yeah,
open up a whole nother door. It's what you're subscribing part of yourself over to somebody else's whims and
that's
not
right.
really realizing, you get veiled for how many years did you do that, only to find that, like, you know what, I'm just going to buy links or I'll
Yeah,
buy both.
or buy both. Like we can cater to other people and cater to
Right.
ourselves.
Yeah.
But don't give your power away that easily.
That's a very, can be a very difficult thing to balance
It is.
depending on, because that's a very small example. There can be a lot bigger examples where, you know, many different kinds. If you're living with somebody, there can be a lot of different things that you're trying to balance. If you're at work, it depends on where you work, but you're probably doing a lot of coexisting and not doing things that you would normally do to make the work flow better.
That's right.
And I know with my experiences with events, that there's a lot of that goes on because it's a high stress situation,
Mhm.
a timed event. Your specific event, you have a lot of moving parts. These
Yes, there
workshops
is.
are, no joke. That's I think a band schedule's heavy. Try to put in all these different workshops
Yeah.
and stages and everything like that. That can create a lot of havoc and a lot of stress. And how do you work with that? How do you deal with the stress day of the show or day before the show? whenever the
I
butterflies start.
Organization. I
Mm,
start early. I have it on paper. I have an entire schedule that's in a program. And if something doesn't go according to plan, let's say an instructor doesn't show up, maybe they have car trouble,
right.
I ignore it. I just let it go. Like it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
If there's 250 workshops and one doesn't happen,
Yeah, you're all good.
somebody may be upset, but it's
Yeah.
okay.
And that I think is because you've been doing it a long time.
Probably so.
Yeah, because that wouldn't have been your answer in 2014 or 13.
Absolutely not. And last year I found so our headliner canceled day
Mm,
of. They couldn't show up there. There was maybe like a bomb threat in an airport, four
mm,
airports away, and they couldn't make their connection.
yeah,
Something happened, they couldn't show up.
I
And I
seem to remember
remembered
that. Yeah,
post event, and I was just like, it's no big deal.
right.
Actually, I liked it because we got their feedback and it just
Mm,
made things a little bit more lucrative and
right.
it was perfectly fine.
And
And
it
I
worked.
later
Yeah,
was like, that would have freaked me out at one point, and it
yeah.
doesn't anymore.
That's good. That's a good place to be.
Yeah,
Yeah, very difficult to get there, but because people get lost in the moment
I can.
and want the expectation, I think is the ruler there. Um, your preparation is important. Your planning, organization, but your ability to let go in
Yeah.
that moment is very important, and probably one of the biggest teachable things you could do for somebody else in event business is to say, let it roll off,
Yeah.
because
I got really burnt out a couple years ago. I was ready to walk away, burn the bridges, and let it
mm,
go. And I was like, why? And I realized that I wasn't having fun because of the stress.
yeah,
And I started telling myself and my team that if you're not enjoying this, you should walk away. This is meant to be done in joy. And
right,
that means if you need to take a few minutes because you're really stressed to go ground yourself, to meditate, to think about something happy, feel free. Please go do that. But like we have to create an experience that we're enjoying
yeah,
because if we're not enjoying it as the space holders, as the energy containers for this event, then no one else is either.
yeah,
Yeah, I realized that every time I was stressed or I felt like things were falling apart, then the festival started to fall apart.
hmm,
And so I started really recognizing my own power as a space holder. And because of that, I started taking better care of myself.
right.
And when I started taking better care of myself, I was more easily able to surrender into what was and be
Mm.
okay with it.
Surrender into what was, and so that is the balance.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely the balance. Is to say, the event is going on,
Yeah.
and there are moving parts that are out of my control, and whatever will be will be. Yeah, not easy to get there. That's a talent.
And I wish I could tell you how I got there, but
Yeah,
I
everybody
just
wants to
did.
know. It's a secret. Yeah, it's you've been doing it 11 years then,
This
2012.
is our 12th year.
12 years. Okay, so I mean that's a lot of time to be, like you said, honing in on the event and really allowing it to become its own entity
Yeah.
and to really blossom the way it's going to blossom.
And some of it's age, some of it
Yeah,
is just growing up. I was
right.
25 when I started the event.
Wow. Yeah.
Um, some of some of it is having an amazing team, having so much support.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of parts to it to make it all work, but the stress factor and the ability to have things spiral out of control is it's relevant. Like you said, the headliner didn't show up. That could crush people. Promoters, they could just be just all over the place with that. But you from experience probably know. Okay, the show goes on.
the
You
show
know,
goes on. There's nothing
somebody
you
will
can
go
do
up there
about
on the
it.
stage and do something fun, and
And they did. We had, I think,
yeah,
8 different musicians came together
oh,
and created this amazing set that now you could have never seen that anywhere else.
right, yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a really good event last year. I definitely, and just seeing it again, knowing how it was put together, and then of course hearing how you handle that kind of stress is is definitely a sign that each event is going to be a really good time, a safe event, a family event, and a focused event. It's very focused.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It really comes down to self-care. When that headliner canceled and I could feel the the jitters in my chest of the panic that was coming along, I went to an air conditioned farmhouse and I sat there for about an hour and I drank a smoothie and I ate a fried egg
Yeah.
and I put on sunscreen and I just like I sat down and I breathed and I took care of myself.
Right.
And I waited for those jitters to subside and then I went back into the festival and took care of things.
Yeah, it's that moment pause.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's the pause.
Well, and that's where you caught yourself from acting or
Exactly.
reacting, I should say. You caught yourself from reacting to a situation and were able to take a moment and act on the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. That's something that you should have a workshop on. How to handle stress in your life.
Whew, I've had a lot of practice.
Yeah,
I probably could teach that.
yeah. Well, and there may be a group workshop, and you don't even know that's happening this year. Yeah,
It's
that's
a renegade
awesome.
workshop. I'll announce it on site.
Right, right. It's not on the list. Yeah. Well, really wonderful to have you here today to talk about the event. I'm really looking forward to it. And I really hope that anybody in the region or in the world wants to come to a really unique event, a really unique festival, that PlayThink definitely hits that.
Mm.
It's unique, it's focused, it's a learning environment, it's family oriented, and it's a lot of fun. It's camping out in Kentucky. Gotta love it.
I want to know we had participants from 39 states last year
Wow. Participants
and
being
three
the
countries.
instructors.
Ticket buyers.
Oh, ticket buyers. Oh,
Yeah.
oh. 39 countries.
39 states
No,
and three
states
countries.
and 3 countries. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was going to say 39 countries. Wow, that's a lot. Okay.
That is impressive.
Yeah. So you had people coming from all over the country,
Absolutely.
and then of what you know, at the very least, 3 countries as well.
Hmm.
The instructors, are they coming from all over the country as well, or are they?
They they do. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not specific to like Kentucky region or anything like that.
Not at all. Now we
Yeah.
do have a high percentage of Kentucky folks simply because geography,
Right.
but there's a wide. We have 60 some odd instructors. I don't remember the right
Hmm.
number, but they're from all over.
Yeah.
I know that we have some from New York, some from California, Texas, Michigan. We got the four
The
corners.
big states. Yeah. Florida. Right. What's the headliner?
We have Equanimous and Tony Jones this year.
Hmm. Okay.
Tony Jones is a Michigan based affirmation
Hmm.
focused singer. So she really has a lot of affirmation and positive lyrics.
Okay. Oh, affirmation. Right. Okay. That's
Yeah.
great. Okay. That'll be fun.
She's been my personal soundscape for a couple of years, just really
Oh,
has helped my own
nice.
personal growth. And I'm excited to meet her and excited to have her out.
Yeah, that'd be great. And what was the other band?
Equanimous.
Quantimus. I'm not familiar with them either.
He's pretty fantastic. He also has his own festival in California called High Vibe Festival.
Hmm.
Um, and so Playthink, we have a podcast, and we actually put a podcast out today with him on it.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah,
What's the name of the podcast? Is it
it's
Playthink Podcast?
Playthink.
Yeah. That's great. Okay. Well, we'll link that as well. Or is it through the website? You can listen through the website?
It is. I know that it's on Spotify. I'll have to look.
Okay.
My assistant Courtney puts all of that out there, so
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly where
If
all
it's
it
on
is.
Spotify, it's probably all over the place. So we
Yeah,
can
I
link.
do know it's
We'll
on
link to it
Spotify because
then.
that's where I listen to it.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for being here. It was really good getting to talk to you and learn all these great bits about the events. We're looking forward to this upcoming Playthink and this year.
It's going to be the best one yet.
Oh, I'd like to hear that. Yeah,
I'm
awesome,
very excited.
excellent. Well, take care. We'll talk soon.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
Bye bye.